four score. And 20 minutes ago, I set out to learn this game. And this game is Bill and Ted's excellent board game. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, and it takes about 30 minutes to play. And it's about me playing as Bill and Ted, going to try to find those righteous babes. Okay, anyway. Welcome back to another review with Sam Healey, yours truly. And we're taking a look at Bill and Ted's excellent board game today. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, takes about a half an hour, and each player is basically taking on the personas of one dimensional pair of Bill and Ted in their dimensional phone booth. And we're trying to go pick up as many characters as we possibly can before time runs out in San Dimas, so we can get back and give our oral history presentation so that we can pass our class and graduate and all that good stuff back in San Dimas High. So let me get down to the table and I'll show you how it goes. And in order to do that, you have to program the movement of your interdimensional phone booths so that they can move throughout the board. When you move through a space that has one of the historical figures, you can add it to your tableau. And then once this deck runs out, whoever has the most historical figures at the end of the game wins. Each player starts the game with 5 cards in their hand, and their hand has a number of different things on them. First of all, it has a picture from a scene in the movie, and then it also has directional buttons up here, which you'll use to program the movement of your phone booth. And then it also has an initiative number button, which will help you determine who goes first in a round. And then it tells you which kind of evil dude moves using those directional buttons on this card. So while we're there, let's go ahead and talk about evil dudes. There are the knights and the cowboys, and they will move throughout the board trying to thwart your efforts in getting these historical figures back to San Dimas. The way they do that is if they are ever in a spot where you are and there are characters to pick up, you can't pick up characters there. Furthermore, if you ever cross paths with one of the evil dudes, they're going to make you drop the most recent character that you picked up. So again, you want to avoid the evil dudes, but each round is carried out in 2 phases. There's a planning phase and then there's a movement phase. Let's go ahead and show you those 2 things. In the movement phase, you're going to take your hand of 5 cards and you're going to choose 2 of them that are going to go down to be your movement for the turn. Now, once everyone has simultaneously chosen 2 cards to program their phone booth movement, then the players flip over their cards. And at this point, that's where we look at the initiative buttons that are on the cards, and the one player that has the lowest number between the 2 cards is the one that goes first. So we have number 18 over here as the lowest, so purple will actually move their phone booth first. And so we see that they're going to take a left-hand turn and then go forward 1 with this card. And then with this card, there will be no rotation and then go forward again, which lands them on Genghis Khan's space, which means he can take Genghis Khan and place it face down in front of him. And that's that for his movement. Now, the evil dudes move on their turn. In this case, we have 2 cowboy moves. So the cowboys, which are over here, will make a left-hand turn and go forward 1, and then space, no rotation, and then go forward again, which means that unfortunately this player did not plan ahead very well and they have to drop their most recently acquired still face-up character in their tableau. So that didn't do them very much good at all. At this point, this person would discard these 2 cards. draw 2 new ones and add them to their hand, and then it would be the next person that has the lowest number, which is 22 yellow, and it continues that fashion. At the beginning of the next planning phase, any characters that you were able to pick up during the previous turn are then flipped over to reveal a directional button that you will always be able to use in addition to the 2 cards that you use in your planning stages. So yellow and green were the only ones to find and keep. Red was able to pick up Beethoven, but the Cowboys moved over their space, so they had to drop it. But you can get the idea. Again, you want to try to keep away from the evil guys as much as possible. And so now the next planning phase begins, where you are able to choose 2 new cards. So we've already gone through the planning stage for the second round, and at the beginning of the movement phase, we all turn over our cards, and so forth and so on. The person who has the lowest initiative gets to go first. 4 is the lowest initiative, but there is a card here with a 69 number on it. These initiative numbers go from 1 to 59, and then there is 169 in the deck. And basically, whoever is able to play this card on one of their turns can choose to just simply yell out, 69 dudes! And if they do that and somebody has played a single digit initiative number, they would be able to go first. And so in this case, while yellow played the lowest number, purple played the 69 at the right time, and they will be able to go first. So they go ahead and take their turn, and we have a left turn, go backwards for this, and then this one is a right turn and go backwards, which means they will get Napoleon and put him face up like so. But then the evil dudes also go, so the evil dudes will also make a left-hand turn and go backwards, and then make a right-hand turn and go backwards as well. And the game will continue in that fashion until this deck runs out, representing the time, the clock in San Dimas, the deadline that they have for making their oral history presentation in front of the student body at San Dimas High School. And whoever has the most characters on their tableau at the end of the game is the winner. So that's how you play Bill and Ted's excellent board game. I have to say that I am not a big fan of programming games where you have to program your move and then other people can mess with it and so forth and so on, and then you're kind of left high and dry because while you programmed correctly, you know, Numbskull over here did not program correctly, and so forth and so on. The thing is about this game that I like a little bit better than those other programming games is that people can't actually mess with where you're going like some of those other games can. Now, the way that other players mess with your opponents in this game is those evil dudes and how those evil dudes move around, and that's kind of a random factor that you don't know about. You can control where they go on your turn, but where they go on other people's turns, it's kind of up to them, and you have to plan your move before you know where the other people are going. Your program cannot be messed up, but how fruitful or not your program was can be messed with how those evil dudes move around on the board. There's a lot more thought added into it and less randomness. Now it feels random because you don't know what those other people are doing, so I guess you could call that a random element. It's definitely there. It just, for me, doesn't feel as chaotic as something like maybe a Robo Rally, where people can bump into your piece and then set it off track, and then it moves something completely like you didn't plan on. So I like this programming game better than other programming games that I have played in the past. With the caveat of possibly Asteroids. This is probably on the same level as Asteroids was as far as my enjoyment is concerned. Now, with that having been said, I think there are a lot of neat little things in here. First of all, the artwork is very cool. It has that very cartoony artwork of a bunch of different scenes that actually occurred in the movies, and they are artistic impressions of those scenes, of course. They're not absolutely perfect, but they are very evocative of the theme, and I liked that about Bill and Ted's Excellent board game. It is a very neat artwork design that I enjoyed a lot. It's not realistic, but also it's not so cartoony so as to be taken flippantly. I do enjoy it a lot. So the artwork is a huge plus here for me. One of the things that I wasn't too keen on were the cardboard standees. And the reason is because, first of all, they're very easy to knock around. It's very important that you make sure that all of the arrows stay the correct way that they're facing for the evil dudes and for the phone booths. And that became problematic. One little nudge here and it just kind of got off kilter, and we have to remember, oh, which way was that facing, and so forth and so on. So that was problematic, and I don't know any way around that. Maybe if there were miniatures, and again, I understand that this is a smaller game, and I don't always have to have miniatures, but some way to keep it where they are less likely to spin around or something to that effect during the course of the game. That's my main thing here. I'm not so worried about the standee part of it, but the fact that they had to be pointing in the right direction, and that was such a key element to the game, it got rather frustrating because we would have to remember which way it happened. It only happened a couple of times during the course of the game, but it happened, and that's one of the reasons I'm bringing it up. It's very, very important to make sure that those arrows are pointing the right direction at all times so that they don't get messed up. But how to fix that, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Another thing that I liked about it is that the deck, which acts as the clock back in San Dimas, I thought it had the perfect number of cards. You play 5 rounds and you're done. You could get into a case where, oh wow, it's already over. I just felt like I understood what I was doing and how to work things. Let's play again. You know, I can see that happening a lot because it only takes about a half an hour to play, and it does not overstay its welcome that way. So I really did think that the size of the deck, how fast the turns are done, how the planning stages are done simultaneously, and then each person takes their turns. The turns go very quickly. I liked all of that. But for this kind of game, it has a good bit of thought processes that go into it, because planning out your program for each turn does take a little bit of that. You want to make sure that you're not running into your own evil dude movement and so forth and so on. That can really hurt you. So all in all, I think that Bill and Ted's excellent board game, while not excellent, is still very, very good, and it would not be outside of the realm of possibility, especially if you like those kinds of programming games. If you do, this is probably one that you should look at, especially if you like the movies, because they do carry over that kind of fun, frolicking type theme to it. So that is Bill and Ted's excellent board game. We'll see you on the flip side. Party on, dudes!